Good morning from the Rocky Mountains. It's a beautiful day here, as I hope it is where you are. Our snow has melted. I know that's probably foreign for some of you, but I actually like the snow most of the time. Maybe not so much. So welcome to Simple Steps to Get Your Own Authority. My name is Penni Royston. I'm the owner of Evil Sizer Transportation. So we'll get a few of our admin things out of the way. If you'll look to the right, you'll see a sidebar that has chat, polls, attendees, and pop-ins. So if you check in with those, you can click at any time. You can ask me questions, and I'll be happy to answer them, hopefully at the end. I like to save a little chat time at the end of the webinar. In the meantime, we're going to get started, and this will last about 45 minutes. And if you have to leave, because life happens sometimes, that's no worries, because we are pre-recording this, and you'll be able to see it in its entirety at your convenience. And we'll be sending out the links for that. So thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun to do these webinars. I like to keep in contact with my customers. We've been in business for over 24 years, and it's truly been a journey from the very beginning. We've seen trucking evolve and change, and some things are more red taped than others, and others are not. So it's been kind of a fun journey. So here we are. We're at Evil Sizer Transportation. This was started by my father, Rex Evil Sizer, back in 1990. He used to work for the Interstate Commerce Commission, which switched to the federal what was that? FHWA or FWHA, I don't even remember now, and now it's the FMCSA. Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration is what that acronym stands for. And you'll find out in trucking it's nothing but acronyms, so I highly encourage you to learn those. So here I am, a licensed ICC practitioner. I know that really doesn't mean a whole lot these days, but back in the day you had to have your license to apply for authority. And it would really kind of be helpful if that was still into play, because I see so many mistakes out there and they cost a lot of money to fix sometimes. So it's not necessary anymore. You can apply yourself, or you can hire someone to do it for you. Again, we've been in business for 24 years. I've done everything from state permits to fuel tax reporting to log auditing to authority to process services, blah, blah, blah. I do primarily process services at this point. I no longer do state and fuel tax reporting, but I have a list of highly recommended services that I can give you. I'm also, on the side, a natural food chef and a certified culinary nutrition expert. I've been in a culinary journey for the last 5 years, and it's helped me overcome a lot of health issues. One is chronic fatigue. So we'll be having some seminars probably on that. So be looking in the future for that. So let's just kind of get to the point here. So who needs authority? So maybe you have a truck, or you're thinking of buying a truck, or you don't want trucks, you want to be a broker, you just want to arrange for people to move goods and services from this point to this point. You need to know if you need authority or not. So if you're operating as a for-hire carrier, which means you're making money off of this, you're receiving compensation for the loads, or you're transporting passengers in interstate commerce, like the Greyhound, the bus companies, or transporting federally regulated commodities, or arranging their transport in interstate commerce. Interstate means you're going across that state line. You'll hear interstate and intrastate. So be sure you get these two clarified, inter, I-N-T-E-R, means going across state lines. Intra, I-N-T-R-A, means you're staying within your state. So that's something to kind of know. And you need to know if you're hauling goods that are non-exempt, that non-exempt goods need authority. So I have this little booklet that my father put together, oh gosh, years and years ago, probably 24, 22 years ago. And it's an exempt book, and you can find, if you Google on the Federal Motor Carrier site, you can Google exempt commodities, non-exempt commodities, and find this list. It hasn't changed. So like, okay, here I'm going to pull out my culinary background. Sorghum grains, which is gluten-free, for those of you who care. So anyway, sorghum grains is exempt. Trash, however, this is kind of interesting. If it's going to the landfill, it's exempt. If it's going to be recycled, it's not exempt. So as I look through the commodities, it pretty much looks like, except for rock and oil, those are non-exempt. You have to have authority for that. But if you have kind of a raw material, you may not need authority. You'll be under that exempt. Here, I'm going to put that up. The exempt category. And those who are exempt are private carriers, which if you manufacture, let's say, your own pipe and you're distributing your own pipe, then you don't need MC authority. You'll need a DOT number. Everybody seems to need those these days. But as far as getting your MC number, you won't need that, as you're not hauling somebody else's goods. And a for-hire carrier that only hauls exempt commodities, that is not federally regulated. So again, like this book, or this exempt area on the Federal Motor Carrier site, let's say like tea, it's not exempt. And let's see, let me look through here. It's so funny, it'll say turtles, sea fish, trees, sea forest products. Topsoil is not exempt. Rocks, not exempt. Let me see if I can find something that is exempt. Pies, frozen pies. Yeah, it's been processed, so it's not exempt. Oh, here's one. Maple sap is exempt, but once it's been processed into maple syrup, is not exempt. So I think you kind of have an idea on that one. And then also, carriers who are exempt are those who operate only within a commercial zone. So let's say you're in Washington, D.C., and you're going to travel to Maryland, but you're within the commercial zone, which you can look up online. It's usually 20 miles or less. Then you don't need that. So then let's move on to the next step, is to establish your business. I feel like this is so important. So many people don't get the name right in the very beginning. And if your name is not correct, you don't have it established with your state, don't have it registered, it can cause a lot of delays in the very beginning of your application process. So there's 4 different types of business entities. One is a sole proprietor, and if you're a sole proprietor and your name is John Smith and you have a company called Smith Trucking, this is how your authority should read, this is how your insurance should read, this is how your permits should read. The name across the board should be exactly the same. And with a partnership, you're going to list the partners doing business as a company name. Pretty simple stuff here. LLC seems to be the most common. I'm not going to say you should have this one or you should not. Really, that depends on your own circumstances. Contact a local CPA or an attorney. Attorneys tend to be a little bit more expensive, but valuable. So check to see if this is what you need to do. And it kind of depends on how you file taxes. If you're an LLC, if it's kind of like acting as a sole proprietor, but you file a Schedule C on your 1040, and it all goes together. Now, if you're incorporated, there's a C corp and an S corp, and honestly, I'm not a CPA, so I kind of understand how it works, but uh, again, check with your local CPA. They will be able to look at your business practices and see what uh, is best for you. But as far as applying for your Federal Motor Carrier Authority, if you're S&J Trucking Inc., make sure your name reflects that, and you have it registered with your state. You need to be a legal entity with that. So once you've established your name, then you're going to apply for an EIN, which means Employer Identification Number. It also means it's also the same thing as a tax ID number. It's kind of like a Social Security number, but for your business only. So you'll have one EIN for your business. You can go online and apply. I feel like we're an online society. Let's get this done and not have to wait 3 or 4 weeks to do it. So if you want to print out that form and send it in, it's going to take a while before you hear back. But if you do it online, chances are you'll get it right away. And you're going to need this not only for taxes or payroll, but to order permits. They're going to ask for this number. They're not going to want your Social Security number. So be sure to do that in the beginning. All right, and then we apply for authority. So you need to decide how you want to operate your business. Are you a motor carrier? Are you going to be a broker? You're just going to arrange. You're not going to own any trucks. Now, a freight forwarder is kind of, sort of, not really like a broker. It's kind of, sort of, because you have to have the broker bond. But a freight forwarder can own trucks, or they can opt not to own trucks. They have a warehouse where they actually take possession of the shipment for a little while, and it might get shipped out on another truck. So it's kind of a unique business. And then there's passenger carriers, just like we talked before. These are the bus companies. So just kind of decide what you need before you get in there to the OP1. Now, insurance requirements. This is hugely, hugely important. You cannot get your authority without insurance, period. I'm going to repeat that. You cannot obtain authority without insurance. I know we're insurance to death. But this is just something that's always been into play. There can be accidents out there on the road, and it's a protection for you and for the other party. So if you have a vehicle that's, now GVW, you're going to see that on there, that means gross vehicle weight. What that means is the truck, the trailer, and the load. It's everything. It's even including the driver that sits in there. So if you're 200 pounds, it's going to be included in the GVW. So vehicles, 10,000 gross vehicle weight or less, you just need 300,000 liability. Now, the bigger guys, the vehicles over 10,000 up to 80,000 is a minimum of 750,000 liability. Now, this depends on what you're hauling. If you're hazmat, you may need the 1.5 million coverage, or if you've got the big explosives, then you may have to go the 5 mil route. Then there's brokers and freight forwarders, like we mentioned previously. You need to secure a $75,000 bond. This has increased from $10,000 last October. It is now $75,000. So if you are a broker and you have not increased your bond, chances are you're inactive. You're not legal to run anymore, or not run, but operate. And then passengers, seating capacity, this does include the driver. 15 or more needs 5 million liability. Passengers less than 15 seats, including the driver, is 1.5 million liability. So when you apply for authority, you can go online, which I highly recommend. It's so quick and easy, to the Federal Motor Carrier site. It's at the fmcsa.dot.gov. You're going to fill out an OP1 and the MCS 150. Actually, you're going to fill out the MCS 150 first, and then it transitions you into the OP1. So the purpose of these forms is the MCS 150 assigns your US DOT number, period. That just gets that established. And then you need to update that every 2 years. And if you don't update that, you're going to get kicked out of the system. And then the OP1 assigns the MC or FF. The FF is a freight forwarder number. So just kind of remember that. You can do this yourself. There are instructions on the Federal Motor Carrier site. That's pretty good, actually. It doesn't have a lot of the details that if you hire a professional like us, who we've been doing this forever, it's like secondhand. We can get this done quickly and work with you on every step of the way. One thing I don't recommend is that you print it out, fill it out, and then mail it in. That can take up to 2 months to get processed, whereas minimum for general freight is 22 days. So 22 days, 2 months. I've known of applications getting lost in the Atlanta lockbox. So, you know, do what works for you, but I highly recommend that you go online. And so does the Federal Motor Carrier. It's much more efficient for everyone. All right, so how long will it take? Usually for general freight and a basic broker, minimum of 22 days. Now, within this 22 days, you need to get your BOC3 on file, which we can do that. It doesn't take long at all. You can do it right away as soon as you have your MC number. And then you need to contact your insurance company maybe 2 weeks into the application. That way you can save a little money on your premium and startup cost within 2 weeks. And then you get both of those, or if you're a broker, you'll need to get your bond on file. And then once all the requirements are met, then the Federal Motor Carrier will grant authority. Unfortunately, there's no way to speed up this process. You know, I get calls almost every day. Is there any way you could push this through? Man, I wish. You know, that would be so cool. But no, I'm sorry. It goes through a vetting program. Just be thankful you're not a passenger carrier. Passenger carriers can take up to 6 months. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. I still have a folder on my desk that we applied for back in October, and they're still in that suspended state. And when you see a passenger carrier in a suspended state, that means they're in the vetting program. They're just kind of caught up in that. And until they get an acceptance letter and then the application says accepted, there's nothing you can do. I guess you can call the Federal Motor Carrier, but usually they'll just say it's in the vetting program. They're not going to commit to any time stamps at all. Household goods usually takes a while. Again, I'm not even sure why. It's just something that they want to do more investigation on actually who's out there driving. And then, of course, hazmat carriers. I just spoke with Bonnie at the Federal Motor Carrier here in Colorado yesterday. Actually, I didn't speak to her. We emailed to see if there was a timeline on how quickly a hazmat carrier could get started. And really, she could not give me one. So I'm kind of estimating 6 to 8 weeks on hazmat. So we'll just have to wait and see. Just kind of know that up front. If you're general freight, that's great. So again, all requirements have been met. The insurance and BOC, file your insurance, and then there's really no way to expedite it. So let's say you filed for your authority, you paid the $300 filing fee, but you never filed your insurance. Then what? Well, you have 80 days to get this done. If you don't, and you kind of need to put it on hold, it's not really a problem, but it is a process. So the federal motor carrier will automatically put you in a dismissed status if no insurance is filed. So then let's say you want to go in and say, okay, I'm ready now. I'm ready to put my insurance on file. You pretty much have to start over with your application. Now you will need to pay the $300 filing fee again, refile your process agents, file your insurance, but you'll be going through that 22-day period. But the good thing through all that is you get to keep the same MC number and USDOT numbers. We all know that the older the number looks, the longer it looks like you've been in business. However, all the records are public, so anybody can go and look and see what the dates are. So file the BOC. That's what I do nearly all day, every day. You can file this right away. There's no need to wait. Unfortunately, when you hit the submit button, or when I hit the submit button for the OP1 and the MCS 150, your phone will probably ring off the wall. Don't answer it, okay? Because it's a lot of crazy people out there wanting your business, wanting your credit card. So we do not do this here, so you'll have to go to our website. We're not going to pound the pavement for you. But one thing we don't want you to do is pay annual fees. We've been doing this since 1991, and my dad saw a vision in the process service area of our company. And we really do not have to file anything with the federal motor carrier after the initial filing. There's a lot of companies out there that say, oh yeah, you have to refile every year. No, that's a lie. I mean, I've been doing this 24 years and I don't have to sit down and do this at the end of every year. A lot of times it's the way companies incorporate other services, which could be good. I don't want to knock it, but it's not about the BOC. And that's what gets people kind of crazy. They think, oh my gosh, my BOC is going to be gone and then my authority is going to get revoked. No, that's not true. Just not true. Keep a copy in your records. It's a 4-page form now. Used to be 2. Now it's 4 pages. And then the only time you need to refile is in the case of a name change and a reinstatement. Those are the only 2 times the BOC will drop off of your account. So just know that. So again, file your insurance, wait 2 weeks after the initial application, saves you a little money on premiums. I hear the going premiums like $1,500 a month. Holy cow, that's a lot of money. So if you can save $750, do it. So there's a form BMC91X. This is the liability form. In particular, you don't file this, but you request that your insurance company files it. If they fail to file it, you're not going to get your authority. Now, brokers will need to file a surety bond or a trust fund for $75,000. Depending on who you go with, will determine the cost. Whether you're going to put up the full $75,000 for collateral, I couldn't do that. So I wouldn't go that route. I would probably go with a monthly or an annual premium on that. Now, freight forwarders need to file the BMC 91X and the BMC 84 or 85. One is the trust fund, one is the surety bond. You do one or the other electronically. And if you don't have trucks as a freight forwarder, you can send in a waiver, but you need to send in that waiver. They're not going to automatically know that you're going to be waived. So you have your authority in place, you've made your filing, you filed your BOC, you filed your insurance, then Once your authority is granted, you're going to receive a letter. And it's not a fancy letter. It's not really even that pretty. But it's a letter that you do not want to ignore, and it's to schedule your DOT audit. Once your authority is granted, it's going to give you, you're going to receive this letter, and it's going to have a phone number on it to call and schedule your audit. If you ignore this letter, the Federal Motor Carrier will put you out of service. And see the big red letters, out of service, in red? Yeah, that'll show up on your site, on your status page at the Federal Motor Carrier site. So don't ignore that letter. Read everything that comes in. All right, so remember when I said when you hit the submit button, you get your MC number, you get your DOT number, you get your DOT PIN. Beware of unsolicited phone calls. Almost the second your MC number and USD numbers are assigned. It's crazy. I've known people that they get phone calls at midnight. I mean, that's just dumb. I'm sorry. That's just not good business practices. And then there's some companies imply they're the Federal Motor Carrier and or the US DOT. Rest assured they are not. The Federal Motor Carrier, for one thing, will not call you at midnight. You're good. You're good if they'll even return your call during the normal business hour. So just know this. There's a lot of companies out there that try to trick you into getting your business. We don't enter into this practice at all. So what's next? You're getting your authority. If you'll look to the right, you'll see a checklist. I highly recommend that you print this out. You make now this is for carriers only. Brokers don't have to do this. They have to do like one thing, maybe two on this list. Brokers will have to do UCR registration and possibly get a SCAT code, which is just an alpha code for certain accounting systems. But if you're truckers, make sure you are organized and you create a permit book. Okay, because if you don't, it's going to be crazy. Okay, you want to be able to be organized, and with this checklist, it's going to tell you what you need. You know, what copies that you're going to need in each truck, because you know you're going to stop at the port. You may stop at pre-pass if you don't get the green light, and the more organized you are, the more professional you appear, and it's just so much better. All the way around. So UCR registration, I see a lot of people don't get this, and you could be subject to a $5,000 fine implemented by the state and shut down. So be sure to do that one. The IFTA and mileage tax permits, this is mainly if your truck qualifies, if it's over 26,000 pounds. Now New York, I believe it's 18,000 pounds. To get that tax permit. Now the mileage tax permit is in addition to the IFTA. So I know you're paying on the consumable gallons and miles, but when you travel through New Mexico, Kentucky, Oregon, and New York, you get to pay an additional tax, which is a mileage tax. So you don't want to go visiting or sightseeing in those 4 states unless you got some extra cash in your truck. And then there's IRP plates. These are your license plates to go across state lines. There's drug testing. This is not optional, folks. Not at all. And now, well, not now, but in about another week, you're going to need to find a Federal Motor Carrier approved medical site. You won't be able to just go to anybody and get it done. The US DOT audit is what we chatted about. Be sure you follow up with that letter. Logbook records. Oh, this is huge. Make sure your logbooks are correct, accurate, correct, and you do them as you are traveling. Maybe not as you're driving down the road, but as when you stop, do your logbook. And you stop. do your logbook. What's really frowned upon is if you wait till the end of the day and then you fill out your logbook. Not cool. I know it's a pain, okay? I do. I used to audit these things. I thought, wow. I mean, it's hard for me sometimes just to write my mileage down when I'm, running around town doing business work. But I just want you to know this is what's next. All right, so if you'd like for us to do your authority for you, we do like a package deal. We don't do this a la carte. People will ask us sometimes, well, if you do this and I'll do that. It's just easier for us, and we like to know that you're taken care of. But we are offering a $50 webinar special. The only time you can get this is through our special link. It's not on our website anywhere. Here's what we do. We get your MC number and USDOT numbers the same day. It's not usually an issue. We file the BOC right away. I mean, I'm talking, I have the MC number page, my confirmation page, and I have that BOC ready. I mean, there's not but like 5 seconds in between. I don't want to give anybody a chance to call you and say, you need to file your BOC. It's like, haha, no, it's already done. So you don't have to file this again. You only need to do it once. And then we monitor this. And we give you the authority letter on the grant date. The federal motor carrier will not email this to you. Their system is just so archaic, it's just not up to par to do that. They would have to do it manually, and that's not going to happen. Now, so we have a way of getting that to you on the grant date. Otherwise, the federal motor carrier will mail you a copy. Now, if you apply for common and contract, then you're going to get 2 envelopes. One is going to have common carrier, which is the certificate, and then the other one is the permit, which is for contract. Yeah. We do the UCR filing, so it's just one thing you don't have to worry about. We do right away. We can usually do this within 2 to 3 days after your numbers are assigned. And then I wrote a book called Trucking Basics, and it's an ebook. It's not in print. It's just easier just to send it out as an ebook, so I don't really have any plans on printing this. Try to be green about some things. But it's a book that I wrote actually, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, and then my father found it when he was cleaning out his office, so he emailed it to me, and I thought, oh my gosh, I sort of remember writing this, but not really. So I had to update it, and it is updated and current. So you're going to get a copy. It's about 50 pages, and I had a guy call me just a couple weeks ago, and he says, oh my gosh, this was the best thing, because he had a question, and his answer was in the book. So pretty cool. And then free future address changes. I know you guys move, and we want to make sure that your address, and phone numbers stay current. We just really try to we just take care of you guys. So why hire this out? I mean, yeah, you can do this yourself. If you're a do-it-yourselfer, do it yourself. But if you want to make sure that it's done right, you just have that little inkling of doubt, let us do it for you. We've been doing it for 24 years, so we know all the little ins and outs of things. And you have an expert along the way for any questions. That's a cool thing. You can email me, hey, I have this question. I don't, ask away. That's what I'm here for. You receive periodic emails teaching and guiding you to the next step. So once we've done your authority, we set you up on an autoresponder list, which about every couple of days, we're going to send you some new information. Hey, be thinking about this. Now it's time to file your insurance. If you haven't filed your insurance, you might want to, this sort of thing. And then we monitor your account until it's active. And then once it's active, we'll send you a copy of the letter the day it's granted. So you have that peace of mind. It's just being done, kind of like your taxes. You send your taxes, kind of take your box. If you have a box, I have a box every year. And then, of course, I'm a do-it-yourselfer on taxes, but I have hired it out in the past, and really it was peace of mind. And I may do that again next year, just to say, here because sometimes they can find things out that you don't know about. So we also have access to the best companies. We literally have the top-notch companies at our fingertips that we have created relationships with. We've actually built friendships in the last 24 years with these people. And we know the best factoring companies, broker bond companies, insurance companies, fuel tax reporting companies, state permits, log auditing, safety. All you have to do is ask. I'll figure it out. I'm just that kind of person. So I'm going to look back here and see if we have any questions. Gosh, I haven't even checked. But you know what? Before we do questions, I want to just go to this one website. This is going to be your go-to website. And I forgot to do this at the last webinar. So we're going to do it here. Okay, so this page right here, safersys.org, bookmark this. Make sure you have copies, okay? Or not copies. You know it. You're going to know it by heart, okay? And if you've been doing authorities, this is your page. So here, this is the Safer System. Right in here is so much information. What I look at every day is the licensing and insurance section and the company snapshot. Company snapshot is your DOT records, okay? That's where you're going to find your safety rating, if you have one. Licensing and insurance, this is where you're going to see, is my insurance on file, is my broker bond on file, is my BOC on file. Now, October of next year, I've heard you still have to have a BOC, but they're going to be updating the DOT records, so this one's going to go away in October of next year. Right in here is very important. Now, when you apply for your authority, you're going to get your PIN number. And here's something I've noticed. When you apply for authority, along the way, it's going to give you, what is that, like a registration number? I've just kind of noticed, because I'm intuitive like this, that's going to be your PIN number, your DOT PIN number. So, you know, next time if you're a service and you do that, kind of notice that. I thought that was kind of interesting. If you go back and you didn't fill it all out and you go back, well, then it's going to change. So that's not going to uphold. So you're going to get your DOT PIN number right away. One thing you're not going to get right away is your docket PIN, and this is in relationship with your MC number. So you have a US DOT number with the PIN. Here you have an MC number with the docket PIN. That goes together. So you can click here. Let's hope it gets there quickly. There we go. Okay, so click yes if you are not an existing Mexican motor carrier or broker only. Brokers, I'm sorry, you don't get PIN numbers. That'll probably change next year. So you'll click yes. You have to fill in credit card information, and it's a simple, I need a PIN number for, here's my MC number, here's who I am. This verifies who you are as your credit card. And then they're going to mail it to you. They're not going to email it to you. I know that's kind of crazy, but it's just kind of the way it is. Okay, so let's go back. Remember company snapshot? Let's just throw somebody in here. Here we go. This is a broker. Okay, so he's just for hire, interstate. You'll notice there's nothing down here because he doesn't own any trucks. And then, this is kind of cool, this links with the licensing and insurance, which we call the L&I. So here, I always press HTML. I don't know if you saw me do that. Over here you have two different options. I never hit report. That's going to download something. I just hit HTML, and here we go. You'll see this one, we're the process agent. They have active broker authority. And then you can come down here to active pending insurance. There looks like through Scott, Pacific Financial, and they have a trust fund on file. So all of this is public information. I mean, you can look, we can just look up somebody random. Then here, let's go back to carrier search. I don't know. Let's see. This one was just issued yesterday. I thought the number was really cool. It's an easy one to remember. Anyway, so here you'll see his application is pending. Insurance is not on file. See, we've already filed the BOC, so that's all done. And then when you come down here to pending application, you'll see that he filed this, what was that, yesterday, and it says accepted. Okay, that's what you want to see. Now, let's see if I can find, oh, here we go. Here's a passenger carrier that I did a while ago. Actually, Dad did this one. So let's look it up because I want you to see what the passenger carrier looks like. And 845478. So they're in Las Vegas. You can see we've filed this. But the insurance is not filed yet because here where it says pending, it says suspended. Okay? So this means, it doesn't mean they're in trouble, okay? Let's get that straight. But it just means they're in that vetting period. They're in an investigative, not a criminal. It's nothing bad. It's just the way it is right now. Now, when this says accepted, I get that accepted letter, then I'll contact them and say, hey, it's time to get your insurance on file. But look at the date, folks, okay? Yeah, that's old. Oh, I hope they're not counting on this for a while. So anyway, use the SAFER system as your basis. Okay, remember here's that licensing and insurance. Very cool. And then here's your SAFER home. Now if you go to licensing and insurance, then you have the FMCSA home at the bottom. And they've redone the website. It's better, okay? It's still a lot, okay? You can't just, I still don't know where to find the application. I have a bookmark somewhere because it'll say get operating authority, and then no, I'm not going to do that. And then there's just all kinds of information coming down through here. So I want you to see that. So there's that. This is how I, when you call and you say, I have an MC number, can you look it up? I'm plugging it right in here and doing it that way. So does anybody have any questions, or have I answered a lot of them? Now I'm going to remove this off of the side and pop that BOC. Remember, if you are paying annual fees, stop, okay? Because remember, like I said, we don't have to do anything on an annual basis. Just don't. All right, and I'm going to give you links to all of this here in just a few minutes, but I just kind of want to show these to you. Again, if you want us to do your authority, I don't know why that didn't show up. Okay, well, sometimes technology is not our friend, but that's all right. And then the ebook, I highly recommend you get this and invest a few moments to read it. It's an easy read. It's written in layman's terms, so you can understand everything that's going on. There's a lot of red tape in trucking, as we all know, and I want you to get it. I just want you to get it. So if you don't have any questions, oh my gosh, I thank you so much, but hang on for just a minute. You to this page right here. It's evilsizer.com/webinar thank you. You can put the .html or not. But here's where I've put together, you can get the ebook. I've put together all of the slides, so you can go through here. And if you wanted to, if you're a slide person, it's like, oh, what did that say? The notes are here. These are, it's not a transcript by any means, but I felt it was important information that you need to get started right in the very beginning. And then again, if you want to save $50 and let us do your authority, click here. If you want us to file your BOC for $30, no annual fees, click right here. I've got a lot of the handy links here to request a PIN number, FMCSA website, apply for UCR. We can do that for you as well. And just kind of look through here. I have all kinds of links to help you guys out there. I know it's kind of crazy, and there's really not a one source place to know all of this. So I want to thank you so much for coming, and looks like we're right on at 45 minutes. Yay! So have a great day, everybody, and email me at Penni, Penni, at evilsizer.com if you have any questions. And this video will be up on YouTube shortly if you want to watch it again and have access to everything that you had here today. So thanks, and have a great day. Bye-bye.